Hi, on this episode, Foster to Family, I'm Tammy McGuire, Foster Closet's president and founder, and we're interviewing a foster mom who has a journey to be told. So her name is Kelly Anderson. Thank you, Kelly, for coming. And she's going to share how her journey from foster to family has helped her grow as a foster parent and her takeaway about being a foster parent and how she grew to become the person and the mom that she is today. Thanks for coming, Kelly.
Thanks for having me so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The neat thing about Kelly is she started out as our foster closet support group. Mm-hmm. One of our members, and one of our members of our FAPA, which is First Coast Foster Adoptive Parents Association. And now you are...
I'm your kinship chair on your FAPA board.
So a kinship is someone that is related to the placement in their home or non-related. It's kind of like all encapsulated into a one department in the foster care industry. And Kelly lovingly stepped up to take that role in on our board. So that means Florida is a privatized agency in our nation. Some of them are not privatized and some of them are just Department of Children and Families. So Kelly is the liaison between Family Support Services, which is our lead community-based care organization in our area in Nassua and Duval County. So she is the one who reports to the agency what our needs are for our kinship and vice versa. So it's so nice that you came today and to see how much you've grown as a foster parent. What we wanted to know and our wonderful viewers wanted to know out there is how you became a foster parent. What made you think of becoming a foster parent?
So I actually started out guardian ad litem at first. In the state of Florida, the children in foster care get assigned what's called a guardian ad litem. So they are an advocate in the court system for the children. They're a voice for the children to make sure that the children's needs are getting met, that they're getting all the support and all the services that they need. So I signed up as a volunteer on top of my, everyday job. Just to volunteer and step in those families and kind of help foster families. And I got involved in that and I loved it.
Can you tell everybody what your everyday job is?
I'm a hairstylist.
How long were you a hairstylist prior to becoming a guardian ad litem?
So I was probably doing hair for about 10 years or so before I started guardian ad litem.
What made you think of becoming a GAL?
I became a gal because I just have always felt this kind of pull towards the foster care world, the social work field, learning that we're supposed to help those less fortunate than I. And there's that Bible verse that, tells us that we need to help our widows and our orphans. And so that has just always kind of resonated in my head. And so this is my way to kind of get involved and do it.
So remember when we started our first episode with Jessica Bradstreet, we talked about how we came up with our name, Foster to Family, and the scripture verse, James 1:27, is how we look after it. And so the neat thing is Kelly chose to look after through Guardian at Litem Program in our area, and what a commendable thing for you to do. So how many children did you help while you were a Guardian at Litem?
So when I was a gal, I did the bigger families. So I stepped up kind of in those families that had 5 and 6 children in each home.
Wow.
So I had a couple big cases, but each case had, so many kids. And it was just so fun and so cool to do it. And it's actually what pushed me to be a foster parent. Because one of the foster families that I went into was a single mom, and she had 5 foster children in her.
Goodness.
And so she was just doing it by herself, and she was amazing. And it kind of made me stop and look and realize, being like, oh wait, I can do this too. There's nothing stopping me from doing this. So I was like, okay, let's learn a little bit more about this and see how I can become a foster mom.
And people really and truly think, if I'm single, I can't do this. Or if I'm older, I can't do this. Or if I'm younger, I can't do this. So it's super neat that you knew that it was in your heart. You saw this other single woman doing it who took on 5. Would you ever do that?
Right? No. I've done 2 at one time. That's my most. And that's kind of I found my limit.
I think that's really smart. I always tell everybody, when you have two, God gave you two arms to grab and to hold, and to keep them safe. And then when you add more children, that's more hands that you don't have, right?
Right. And they were all like under 10.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was amazing.
Do you know how she's doing now?
She's still fostering.
Oh my gosh.
Those 5 actually went to a family member and got adopted by a family member, and she just keeps continuing.
Wow. So you became a foster parent. Can you tell us what that looked like for you?
It was a very interesting ride to get to that point, and the anticipation and everything. And I actually started out doing respite. So in our world, respite is kind of, as a foster parent, we need a break or something happens. This family had to travel out of town and they couldn't take the foster children with them, so they asked for respite. And I got 2 sisters for like a couple weekends at a time, and they were just really cute, and I started with respite.
And respite's how I recommend anyone, by the way, starting off as a foster family, because that way your home can grow and morph and learn more about the system.
Right.
Thankfully, you knew about the system
better.
But having a child in your home versus going to that home to visit is a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's super great that you did that first, because, and I recommend, if you're looking out there to look after the foster children in your area, becoming a foster parent potentially, always do respite first. Yeah. And how long did you respite prior to being a foster home?
In my first full time, it was only just a couple months, and then I just opened up to regular. My very first placement was 2 siblings. They were going to split the siblings up because I only have space for 1 child in my home. So instead of splitting up a brother and sister group, I decided to open my house to both of them. So I got a baby and a 2-year-old.
Wow. Wait a minute. Did you just hear? How old were you then?
I was 30.
So think of you being 30, single.
Never a parent. I have no children of my own, and I opened my home to 2 kids, 2 under 2.
Do you have a pet?
No.
Okay, so there's that too. I love it. What a great heart. Truly, that's the ministry in itself. That she went from being single, and think of that moment of my own space, my own time.
My own sleep schedule.
Oh, there we go.
So a 2-year-old and a baby, and neither of them slept. Neither of them did well. So it was a lot of sleepless nights and napping. Yeah.
Did you have a tag team? Did you have a good support system?
So my family is super incredible. Like, I'm eternally grateful for them, and they've really stepped in and kind of helped me and been a great support system.
Now, the first time you came to the foster closet, I think it was for those children. Did your mother come at one point with you?
My mom did come. My mom has been my biggest cheerleader in all of this, and I eternally love her for it. And she did. She came with me because she knew it's overwhelming. You know, I'm her baby, and so she kind of stepped in and answered all of my questions and, you know, all the mom things that I just don't know.
Wow, what a blessing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, having the support system, how long did the children stay with you?
So those 2 only stayed with me a couple months. I would say maybe 2. And they ended up going to an aunt and uncle who they're still with at this time.
Wow. That is so a relative placement is a kinship placement that Kelly's the liaison for, if you can remember, for our chapter called First Coast Foster Adoptive Parents Association.
They were doing so well in the placement. I just felt it was kind of my time to step back and let the family do its thing and get kind of in their groove.
What a blessing for you to be able to say, well done. You did a good job, right?
Yeah, making sure those kids are happy is kind of our ultimate goal. Make sure the kids are happy and thriving. So it just makes my heart happy to know that they're well.
Did you ever grieve when they left?
I mean, even though we know foster care is our goal is reunification. We want these babies to go home to their families, to their kinship, you know, to the people that they know. So it's hard when we do lose them, when they go back home, but it's such a joy to be able to be part of their story, to be part of that happiness in their life. So you kind of have to kind of put it in, you know, put it in place. And just be happy for them overall. Yeah,
and that's why we did the support group anyway, because even if you feel a little bit melancholy because you still know where they're going is where they need to be, but you're feeling a little off, that's where the support group comes in.
The support group was so great because they did tell me that there was a place to grieve in my heart. But then you also do have to look at it in both ways.
Yes.
And just be happy. Turned into a phone call in the middle of the night, woke me up from my sleep saying, hey, would you take another kid? We can all walk down the same road and it can be so different, paved in so many different colors.
What gives you that peace and assurance that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing? It's about your future as a foster family. Foster family. If you're out there wondering how you can be a foster family, you can always look below and we have a link where you can click for your local agency, or if you live in the Northeast Florida area, how you can become a foster parent. Let's say that you are just wanting to be a supporter for a foster family. How can I go about helping support? There's many ways, and you can look below and we'll have a link how you can get a hold of us here at the Foster Closet to help supply that helpful support to other families. I'm Tammy McGuire, and that was this week's version of how you can help look after the foster care community from foster to family.